So, hi everybody and welcome back. This is a C++ tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video 74 and we are solving our exercise. Of course, there are many different kind of solutions. We learned so much and you should use your own creativity, your own ideas. And if it's wrong, doesn't matter. No problem. Just solve it. I mean, just try to make it better. And if it's not work out, doesn't matter also, because you're training and you're learning while you're doing. That's very good. So let's continue. So I found in this video I show you some ideas which I noted here, and let's get started. So we have to rewrite this given task in some comments which we can turn in code, but I will show you that I made here some mistakes, and I will show you something very interesting here also, which is this line here. I will not write all time comments. So let's get started from top and then I say what this is. So first of all, I said, okay, print on screen an info screen that says login account. That's obviously at start we have to inform the user what this is about, right? A login screen. We see in many websites login screens or in accounts or apps and so on, and we are creating one of them. Let's go on. Then I say the login screen asks also to type in username and password. This line of code is most time true, but it can also ask more. That's why I specified this one. But now you will see here a block. First of all, we realize this one is a block. Why is this a block? This one is the task what I try to achieve, and this one is more or less how to achieve this first task here. And here I say ask for the username on screen. That's okay. That makes sense. But this one, what I wrote here, save username in a variable, makes not so much sense. Why? Because as a programmer, you should know by now that we save all informations in variables. But for beginners, this line is still very good because it says, okay, I do this, then I save the variable, then I do ask for the password on screen, and then I save the password in a variable. But this one is very good for beginners, but later absolute nonsense because as a programmer, you know, you save all variables, all infos in a variable because we are working with variables, but still I keep it. It still helps. It will not kill me. So let's go on. The next thing is, okay, I have now the username saved in variable, I have the password saved in variable, and now the next task is login should ask for username and password. We did this. Account should show information about different categories. Let's see how I solve this one. Compare the input with the database stored account to permit access. All right, before I can go to this line of code, I said, okay, now I have the password and the username, but we need access, right? You can't just write anything and then go to an account. And therefore, we have to compare it. And how we compare it, and this one is again a block. A block means I try to achieve this line of code. And here are the steps how I try to achieve this one. Let's see. Stored database contains two arrays with the same length. Okay, this is my idea. Here you can have very different ideas. You can be creative. You can find nice solutions, bad solutions, doesn't matter, find anything and try it out. This try out, it's the best. I tried also something out and I think mine is not the best, but I think it will work for me, and if not, that's also possible, then I change it, because these are only ideas. This is not a thing what you should follow with all which means you have to follow it. It means just you can follow it if you succeed in your task. If you can't succeed with this comments here, just change it, just throw it away and make it so that you can succeed later. But let's see what I wrote here. In my case, I wrote here just store database contains two arrays with the same length. So I create two arrays in my case with the same length. And the reason for that is we have not learned many other things. We have arrays, which is very nice for database. Of course, you can use other things here too, but arrays are very nice. But the problem with arrays is they must be all time the same length. If you have two different arrays which you want to compare, because if they have the same length, then you can use the slot name. That's my idea behind this line here, and I will read now the next line and you understand it perhaps. Here it says compare the username variable. Okay, we have get this one with the database names. This is the array 1. I compare it with the database names which are stored in arrays. Yes, I did this. I compare this, and if I find it, then I have found if success. It says here note the slot number, and that's the thing. If success, which means if I found my username, which I type in this array database names, and then I'm going to note this slot number. And now you see what I'm going to do with this slot number, because the arrays are at the same length. If fail, okay, that's possible too. If fail, print out name not exists. Right, if failed, we can't go on. That's okay. Then the next thing is here, use this slot number. Now we are here again. Use the slot number on the password array and compare it with the password variable. So this one means just I use the slot number in like it says here in the password array. Because I said, and that's why it's very important that these arrays must be the same length in this case. So I can use this slot number, because then I know the found name. For example, if I have here, let's say let me show you here a fast example here. Let's say I have here coder typed in, and the database contains coder. Then I'm going to note the slot name, which is, for example, 1. Then I go to the password array, and then I code this 1 with my password. I go to this password array. Okay, let's write here password array, and then I go to this slot which I found, which is 1, and I compare this one with my password which I have saved also. Let's say the coder has saved the password coder 1 2 3 4 5, and then I have to compare this to coder 1 2 3 4 5. So you get the idea. So first I find coder, then I get the slot, then I use the slot in the password array, and the password array must now be same with my input password, and then I will succeed. It sounds very complicated. It's actually it's very easy, but of course you can have very different solutions here. This is one fast solution I came up with, not to do so much. So let's continue. If success, show account info. Okay, that's normal. If we succeed, which means we have the right username, we have the right password, and then perfect. If fail, print out wrong password. Yes, we can't continue. And we say here wrong password. And here you have options to give the user again a chance to try again. For example, accidentally he wrote a wrong password or wrong name. So normally you should give the user here 3 more chance, but not more than 3, because perhaps he tried to hack or something like that. You can do this. I did it not, because that would go on, but it's not too difficult. Let's add it here. I will perhaps do it, because it's a very good opportunity. Okay, let's say here, give the user 3 chances to enter the right password, username and password. So, and this one probably now I have to extend to. Let's make this a special group. And then I have to say here something like I say just make a if comparison. Yeah. Yes, counter. Also, let's say you make here create a counter, and if the counter is free, then close the option to enter password and username. I think this is not perfect, but it helps me again. I said this is just an orientation and later you can change it. But right now I throw this in. I'm not even sure if I'm doing this, but I think yes, we can do this. It's not very difficult. And that's more like an account, right? You need this option for the user that he really can give one wrong password or one wrong username, just he typed it wrong or something like that. Happens a lot, but not more than 3, right? Let's continue. Let's see our task here. Create 3 different categories which you can select. Okay, then I go here down and say show 3 selectable categories. This is my task, but how I'm going to do this, and I made here a very cheap solution. Perhaps you are more creative than me. I wanted just to write less here because we are already writing much here and here later. That's why I said, okay, create 3 categories. Category 1, database array, my favorite books, finished. Category 2, database array, my favorite games, finished. And category 3, database array, my favorite movies, and finished. So with other words, this database contains personal information about me, and it will show which books I like, which games I like, and which movies I like. And don't forget, personal informations are very valuable in on the internet. For example, Google like it to see which things he can try to advertise you. Depends on informations like that, right? To analyze your profile more like that. So anyway, let's continue. Let's say I have now these categories, and now a very important line comes here. This is very important. What I'm going to do now is, my goal is normally create 3 different categories which I have, which you can select, and this here which you can select. Look, this what I wrote there. I said here, I reused the selection menu from another exercise. This is good because it shows you got experience. What I mean with that is, we already created something like a selection menu in our one of our exercises before, right? So in programming, it is very important that you don't start from scratch all time. That is one of the goals which is not set, but everybody tries it and it's very good practice. Why not from scratch? The point is, if you have found already a solution or you already know a solution, why you should start it from scratch again? You can just reuse it. Reuse means you have for example, you created a project like us. Our exercises are more or less also projects, right? And you have already code written there. So you could theoretically just copy this code here, bring it here, and then let's say rewrite it a little bit and use it. And exactly that you should do. And why you should do something like that instead of rewriting all from scratch. The reason for that is that shows that, first of all, it shows, like it says here, you have experience, which means experience means here you already did it. You already have in your past, you did it. You have a clue about this. You know how this works. Perhaps you even mastered it with checkpoints. You profiled it. Profiled means you have checked for style, for correctness, and so on. And yes, all this kind of stuff. Okay, we are beginners, but in future you will see this kind of stuff. You don't want all time create from scratch. In general, in programming, programming in general is not really creating all from scratch. You know what I will show you what I mean with that is when we go on top, you see this libraries. And I said, for example, this IOStream or string are things which we can use, right? And the reason we can use that is because they are already created for us. If you believe it or not, we could write our own IOStream from scratch. We could write our own string class from scratch. But no, we are not doing this because why we should do when it's already done and we have just to use it and we know how to use it. And this is similar to this one. If you have experience, for example, you created codes in other exercises, then, and you know all about it, and you say, I know all about this one, I don't have to create now from scratch a selection menu. I know one way already, then use it. The second example here is very, very important for the future is later you will see that many people are presenting solutions on the web. And if you are able to understand their solutions, this is kind of experience too. Right now we are beginners, we miss many keywords. Now it's too difficult, but later, after we finish this tutorial series, this will be very easy. And if you understand their solution, you can just copy their solution, use it, because the solutions are more tools. For example, a selection menu is just a tool how to select a menu, for example, or something like that. And then you can just reuse it, change it like you need. For example, that means not you must copy it one-to-one. You can copy it and then change what you need to your needs, and then that's it. And that is very good practice. Why is this very good practice? Because you are wasting not time to make it all from scratch. You are not wasting time because if you have already experience, for example, like I said, you have already written your own code in a project and you are reusing codes from there. These codes are most time tested. These codes are most time proof that it works. That's very important. So with other words, experience means here you already did it, you tested it, it works, it's perfect, and now you can reuse it. Non-experience means, for example, you start something absolute new, you have no clue how to start, and you make this the things what we beginner do normally, which is just try it out, hope that it works, and then research on the web how it works, and then write it from scratch. Anyway, this is also not bad, but I mean, for beginners it's not bad to try out and make it all from scratch. But if you get better, then you should reuse more code in future, because writing all from scratch, it's not possible. I mean, it's possible, of course it's possible, but it's not efficient, let's say it this way. So that was a very important part in this video, that you start to get an understanding that we have not rewrite or I mean that we have write all code from scratch. I hope that makes sense. Later you will see what I mean with that if I go to solve this one. And let's continue. We are almost finished. The last lines here, which is after selecting one category, show the information for the category on screen. How I solve this: after selecting one category, print selected category array on screen. Yes, this is the information. For example, my books, I'm printing on screen and so on. That's very easy. Then here on the last thing, ask user on all selected categories if want to go back to selection screen or quit. And this one here, I tried here intentionally to use this line of code again. Why? Because I said I reuse the selection menu from another exercise. And because this is again just asking for a selection, right? And we did already a selection, at least one way. There are many ways. If you want not reuse this selection menu, which can be also good when you try to find a new way, for example, this is also not bad. If you have say, okay, I know one way, but I want to try, for example, another way to expand my knowledge, of course, then you should use it and try to make it from scratch another way. That's also very nice. But in general, after you are experienced, you will say, hey, I know many things, I can reuse it and finish my tasks fast and immediately. So I talked a lot again in this video. This is one approach, and don't forget, these are just ideas, right? This can be all changed here. For let me say this one too, this is very important. Let's say I have said, okay, I make it this way, right, with this reusing this one. But let's say after one night I sleep, and then after the next day I say, oh, this solution is okay, but I found a better way. Then I can get rid of this one or get rid of this one because you found perhaps something more interesting, better, or you want just try something out. That means all what you wrote here is just one way, but there are many different ways to do so, and that means you can change them, add them, delete them, and later on when you start real developing it, what I mean with real developing it, turn this one in code, then you will probably still change something here in order or so on. That's also very important to know. And with that said, I think I talked too much, and still, if you have any questions, again, ask in the comments. If not, I'm going to solve this exercise with this info what I wrote here. And don't forget, this must be not the final form. It can change. In my case, it changed many times, but that's normal. That's called development. Okay, see you in the next video. Good luck, and I hope you have a better solution than me. Bye.